Hello.
Hey Tyler,
How you doing?
I'm good. Good to see you there in sunny
Yeah,
California.
taking it in. I was gonna sit inside and do this, but I have a 3-month-old crying baby and figured I might as well just go for a walk.
Yeah, that's perfect. I love it. Good for the brain. Get some
Yeah, of
sunshine in, some exercise, get the blood flowing,
course.
and a little break from how's the baby doing?
She's doing amazing. I would be lying if I said that I'm doing the best I've ever done, but that's just part of being a new father and
Hmm.
having very little sleep for the most part, which is unfortunate because that's one of the most important things that we need for our brain. So, but
Hard to heal without sleep. Yes, the
yeah,
brain.
I'm managing. I'm getting through it. Definitely,
Mhm.
I couldn't imagine doing this as a single parent. So I think that's the most important thing I learned through it all is just a huge appreciation for single parents, single mothers, because I could
Mhm.
never do it.
Oh,
But yeah,
100%.
I'm figuring it
Um,
out.
Good. And how are things down in California? Enjoying the community? I know that was where you used to hang out. So.
Yeah, I'm just happy to be out of. I mean, Oregon's beautiful, but I couldn't
Hmm.
do the no sun thing. I feel like my healing had sort of plateaued without the
Hmm.
sun. Spending so much time in the rain and indoors, it just wasn't good for me. So I
Yeah.
definitely feel like this is the best place for me, and I
Hmm.
have my community back. Friends are equally as important. Just for your health and happiness. So
I agree. We always talk about the four circles at Amen. There's the biology, getting the right structural support, the nutrients, the supplements, the diet, the exercise, the sleep. There's the psychology, your thoughts, your negative thoughts, positive thoughts,
mhm.
um, your relationships and your social support. And then last is like your spiritual support or your sense of purpose in life that can be interchanged. So you were missing that third quadrant in some ways. I mean, you had some family and stuff, but you
Yeah,
just it's different having the colleagues. So, and I am jealous. I mean, I'm in Seattle here. It's
yeah,
raining, and you have palm trees behind you. So it's got to
yeah.
be good for the brain.
Definitely. Just overall general mood, which is something that I've struggled with severely. The anxiety and
Hmm.
just, being stuck in my head. It's a lot easier to just be grateful for palm
Mm.
trees all around me and sun.
Hmm.
It's literally sunny 99% of the time here. So I'm
Oh, thank you.
very, very thankful for that.
Yeah, it's good for
But
you to be there.
also thankful that I got to spend a year in Oregon and realize how much
Hmm.
I do like you you take for granted just the sun.
Hmm.
You don't
Hmm.
realize how important it is until you live in a place where you don't have it for half the year. So I'm happy for that situation.
Yeah. Good. Well, let's rewind. So, for those of you who may not know, I'm Dr. Gibran Chapek at Amen Clinics in Bellevue or Seattle, Washington area, and I met with this guy Tyler. Um, Gosh, this was back in October,
Hmm.
and we scanned your brain. We did a SPECT imaging, which looks at blood flow, looks at activity to look for damage, what areas are working well, not working well. And you were kind enough, you're vulnerable enough to share your experience with the world. We recorded the time and um, shared it with others so that they could learn and see that this how this can be helpful for people and how it can
Hmm.
be helpful for you. So how is that? How has that process? Um, because this can be intense to actually look at your brain.
Yeah.
Then over the subsequent months, you've kind of had time to reflect.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think the most important thing for me was to realize that it was like a sense of relief to actually see that there was severe damage to my brain because that clarified for me that I wasn't just crazy, you know? And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, yeah, there is something going on. And you were able to explain exactly what it is. And okay, you're feeling these emotions because this part of your brain is
Hmm.
damaged here, or you're not getting enough oxygen or blood flow to this part. So overall, it was like the most just warming feeling to hear your words, even though they weren't the best words. Saying, you know, I had one of the worst brains that you've seen, but I feel like
Yeah.
it lifted a weight off my shoulders that I had, just knowing that, one, I'm not crazy, and two, that healing is
Mhm.
possible if I continue to stay on the right path and take
Yeah,
it seriously. So
absolutely. No, you took it to heart, and that's, I think, what we're doing with imaging is really creating a map for you and creating
mhm.
a plan together. And you've been awesome at working the steps and taking it one piece at a time. And yeah, unfortunately, you had one of the worst brains I have seen, but there's also a reason for that. You had some serious head injuries. You showed me one of them,
Yeah,
where you fell like, I don't know, 20 or so feet just straight on your front and face and
yeah,
smacked your head. Um, there had been some mold exposure, low
yep,
testosterone. There had been a history of using benzodiazepines to help with anxiety.
yep.
And
Alcohol, all of it.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Not good for the brain.
No,
Uh, Not a health food.
no, not at all.
So one thing I wanted to share is just that when it comes to healing and recovery, it's usually not one thing that
Yeah.
helps, and it's usually not one cause. It's multiple contributing factors, and so what? It's figuring out what are those for you, and then you got a lot of work to do, and it may take you know a couple years to get
Yeah.
fully recovered, but it is possible to.
I think for me, the most important thing is just honestly not losing hope, because it can be,
Mhm.
if I'm just relating to the average person, I think I can speak for most of us. It's easier to just be like, oh, like this, I felt so shitty. Sorry, excuse my language. I felt so crappy for so long, and I am just over it. And it'd be so much easier to just go, drink a beer or
Sure.
buy a bottle of wine, and just, because I'd also be lying if I said you don't feel better for the night, because you do. And that's why it turned into a problem for me, because I realized that I can just drink and I'll
Mhm.
feel okay for 6 hours. But then I wake
Right.
up and my life is 10 times worse. My emotions are completely unstable, and it
Yeah.
just turns into a whole, tornado of issues, all because I
Mhm.
felt like I needed a little bit of relief. So I think that's the most important thing, is just to find like the path, find the things that do work, which are obviously exercise, eating right,
Mhm.
just doing brain healthy things. Meditation has been one of the most crucial things for me. Um,
Yeah. That's
Obviously sleep, if you don't have a 3-month-old baby, get that.
awesome.
Um,
Mhm.
Sunlight, and just like moving your body. I've noticed if I stay stagnant for any amount of time, that I can feel my emotions and energy just building up in my head even more.
Mhm.
So just moving my body, and like I said, find that routine, find that plan, and just stick to it. Because as soon as I veer off of the things that started to work for me, if I get a little too comfortable or a little lazy, and just think, oh, I'm starting to feel okay, I can coast, that's when it all goes south again.
Mhm.
Because like you said, this is a not it doesn't happen overnight. This is going to be
Right.
years. And I mean, obviously, I think it's just your whole life is a constant journey of healing and learning. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Each
that
day, Dr. Eamon talks about keeping it real simple. Is this good for my brain or bad for my brain?
exactly, it's an easy question. Is this going to help me, is this going to benefit me, or is this going to hurt me? And
Mhm.
it's a pretty obvious answer, that's, if you ask yourself that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's tough when you're in pain. Like you said,
Yeah,
is this beer gonna hurt me? Yes, but not tonight. It's gonna feel good. I'm gonna numb that pain. When we know it's causing more decreases and it's toxic.
yeah.
Um, so,
I think one of the worst parts about having a brain injury, or just brain issues, mental health issues, is that you still have an injury, but to the naked eye, to everybody else, you're fine. And that was one of the hardest struggles for me, is that I can sit here and have this conversation and I seem fine, and I don't have a cast on my leg. So to everybody else, what's the problem? And if
Mm-hmm.
people don't take the chance to listen or watch my videos where I talk about it, or actually, just take some time, then
Mm-hmm.
that was just the hardest part for me, honestly. I just felt like nobody cared, and I'm just another person who says, oh, I have anxiety. I don't know, I'm losing my mind, because, people will say that very casually all the time. And
Breaks my
without,
heart
yeah,
every day. You're not alone. So many
yeah,
people have the same issue, where it's a silent. Brain issues are silent. I mean, we look fine on the outside, and then
yeah,
if you can reveal that and find the root cause of that, it's very clear that there are problems that result in anxiety, depression, anger,
yeah.
focusing problems, sleeping problems. So,
Yeah, I would say that there is, like, there are some positives to having these issues for yourself, because the amount of compassion that I have now for people, and it taught me to not judge, because you literally, like I said, I look fine, but I've been living in a complete hell in my head for a long time, and
mhm.
it's terrible, and I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy. So it gave me a lot of compassion, and just um yeah, I guess also gratitude for when you do feel good. And I know I will feel a lot better someday. So
Yeah,
when that time comes, I just am way more thankful for just the simple things, like the sun, for instance.
yeah.
Now that's something that makes me so happy. So
That's awesome. So you've been feeling good, and
pretty, pretty good. Definitely, like, with the move. So, like, right after I saw you, had my daughter was born, like, less than a month later, and then about a month and a half after that, we started making the move back to San Diego. So, and we drove, and it was just like, it was definitely a lot, and it took
intense.
a toll on me for sure. Um, yeah, it definitely started to take a toll on me, and I was a little overwhelmed for the first few weeks I got here,
Hmm.
just trying to settle down, get in my groove. But I feel like I'm finally there. We've been here for a month now, so I'm able to get into a nice routine, and I'm not being rushed. And
Hmm.
yeah, it's going good. It could be worse, but like I said, I have my days, and I have my good days, and I have my bad days. So
Hmm. Yeah, of course, it's going to be like that. And the goal is to have good days start to be closer together and longer periods of feeling clear and less anxiety. And that means you're getting better versus, the opposite,
yeah,
more days of problems. But I love that you've really identified the things that have helped you, and like meditation, exercise, getting good sleep. I read
yeah,
about that
I
in my
would
book,
say,
Concussion Rescue. Go
yeah.
ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, what do you think are the things that have helped you the most?
I was just gonna say, for me personally, and I know a lot of people haven't gotten into any sort of spiritual practice, and I've never been, like, I wasn't raised religious or anything, but
Hmm.
once I discovered meditation and actually started reading about it, and then really started like putting in it's a practice. So once I started practicing, that has been probably the most crucial thing for me, because it got to a point where I was able to not take the benzo, and I could go and meditate. So it was like the healthy solution, the best solution. And then it just started to transfer into so many parts of my life, and I was
Hmm.
able to just use that tool. So I would say, for anybody, if you don't have a meditation practice or some sort of spiritual practice, some conscious breathing, that has been probably the number one thing for me. Even before I met you, that was already
Hmm.
something that's been implemented in
Yeah.
my life for the last probably 5 years or so.
Hmm. No, that's awesome. And it's not easy, is it? Just when you start meditating.
No, you feel crazy. I remember I'll be sitting there, and I'm like, why am I sitting here in the silence in a dark room, like, trying to focus on the way I'm breathing? And it can
Hmm.
even make you more anxious
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
It can, like, in the beginning, yeah, it can, like, overwhelm you, because if you're a anxiety prone person or have panic attacks, it's totally can be triggering. But
Mm.
you work through that, and then it becomes a savior, in my opinion.
You know, and there has been some good research on meditation and brain injury. For example, like they did this pilot study of people who did meditation. I think it was a year long. And
Hmm.
at the end of the year, they had significant quality of life improvements, less anxiety, better executive function, which is a part that
Hmm.
has to do with planning and organizing and focusing, because it really activates or strengthens the frontal lobe behind the forehead, which is that piece, impulse
Hmm.
control, ability to make good decisions. That's all frontal lobe. And it simultaneously allows the limbic system, or the anxiety centers, the depression centers, to calm down, or at least allow those waves of anxiety to just sort of wash over you, and you're still good. You sit still and you kind of let that happen. So it's a perfect brain balancing.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think
so,
I saw a study as well that it was just an 8-week study, and it
hmm
had shown like 30 minutes a day for 8 weeks, and it showed significant like gray matter improvement.
yeah,
Right?
yep,
Is that correct? I'm not
yep,
too
that's correct.
familiar with what I'm saying, but yeah, and that was pretty mind blowing because I read an article where it was kind of dumbed down for somebody like me, but
hmm hmm
it's just really cool because
Right.
it's not just placebo. It's not just like,
hmm
I mean, it is just in your head, but there's real science behind it. And that's why I
Yeah.
do really try and preach it to people, especially like close friends and family. And it's just, it's facts. It works. There's a
hmm
reason why people have been meditating for thousands and thousands of years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
It
think it's cool that it's just becoming so prevalent in
Right.
our culture now.
hmm
And less
Uh,
of I feel like it was more of like a taboo or kind of like a weird, oh, I meditate. People think you sound weird, but now it's like
oh,
people are just crazy. They'll judge you for everything, but I think it's just
right.
cool that it's such a part of our culture now.
Yeah, my kids, they're doing like 1 minute mindfulness in school and stuff. They'll ring a
That's
bell
amazing.
and this is public school, and they'll ring a bell, and
Wow.
this is Seattle public school, so maybe that's not across the
Yeah.
country, but they'll ring a bell, and then the kids are focusing on when can't you hear it, and they're
Hmm.
listening, and things like that. You can be very simple. Doesn't have to be sitting cross-legged with your hands like this. You can be doing. It can be mantra where you're saying satanama, which are just
Hmm.
some made-up words that, um, or TM. There's all kinds of meditation that you just got to
Yeah.
find what works for you. Some people like to focus on something, like an image or a color. They say something. Some people focus on body sensations.
Yeah. For me, it's usually focusing on the breath and
Mm,
focusing on just relaxing my all the tense muscles because I tend to like I'll feel my shoulders kind of up in my neck and my
hmm
jaw. I used to clench my jaw really bad, and it got to the point where it was
mm,
actually like painful. So that's a good one for me.
nice.
But yeah, there's millions of ways. I mean, also I think something I realized once I started meditating is that I actually had been meditating my whole life riding my bike,
Oh, yeah.
because
hmm
essentially you can't possibly be thinking about anything else when you're in a flow state doing
Right.
something that you love. So in my eyes, that's a physical
Yeah,
or an active form of meditation that is everybody
absolutely.
should also have some sort of practice like that or some hobby, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I think that for me, that's running. I like,
Yeah,
going
for
to jog.
sure. You get the runner's high after a few miles.
Totally.
It's a pretty crazy experience. Like when it'll click and you feel like you can run forever. I love that.
hmm Yeah, it's amazing. I was gonna plug my book, Concussion Rescue, because I
Okay.
saw these people that have joined saying that, oh, I've been trying to get my loved one to Amen clinics for many years now. So I wrote that book because we can't treat everyone. Not everyone can come
Yeah.
to Amen clinics. And so I have some really practical tips, like we're talking about overall. This is how to approach a brain injury, concussion, whether it's been many years before or recent. There's acute protocol for brain injury. There's chronic um, brain injury, and we talk about hyperbaric versus exercise, and kind of putting all the pieces together. So
Yeah.
um, it's oftentimes it helps to see a doctor and get some imaging done, but if you can get started there, um, that's a great place to start. So,
Yeah, no, your book is amazing. It pretty much gives you the guidelines of what you can do, what you can do today, you know, where you
hmm
don't need to wait or you don't need to save up money to go get some imaging done. You can just
right.
start now, and at least you're doing something, you know, everything is better than doing anything is better than doing nothing, I would say.
hmm
So,
Yep. Agree. Agree.
I have a quick question for you,
Sure.
and this is completely personally for me.
Yeah.
I've gotten the opportunity to do some MERT technology, or what is it? MERT. It's like magnetic. It's like a new form.
Oops, I lost you.
You
Mert.
hear me?
Oh
Do you
yeah, there
know?
you are.
Do you know what that is?
I'm not familiar with this. Oops. MERT. Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So I guess I just went and got another scan with them the other day, and
hmm
it reads your. They know all about you guys at Amen, and
hmm It's like
they
an
said
MRI.
that Dr. Ammons actually refers people to them sometimes because
hmm
they were like, "Did you get sent here by him?" And I was like, "No, it was through another friend." But it like reads your brain waves
hmm
and not, you know, like,
But it's a therapy too. Tyler just come back on, but it's a combination of just a quick Google search, MRI and transcranial magnetic stem,
yeah,
and they can target where to focus, and then they use a magnet to activate parts of the brain.
yeah. So it's like a very personalized form of it because now they can do it,
hmm
see the exact parts of the brain that I guess essentially aren't firing,
hmm
and
Yeah,
then they so.
EMS is great. Magnetic stimulation is great. It's very safe. If
Yeah. Okay,
really no
great.
risk.
Yeah,
Very
I guess it's just like a newer, updated version of TMS.
cool. No,
That's what
that's
they're
great.
saying.
That's
So,
great. I think that's great. Go for it.
yeah, so I'm pretty excited. It'll be cool to update you on that, and I
Yeah.
think it's like a month or two of every single day, so I'm gonna have a lot of time in there. But yeah, I've read nothing but good things about it, so we'll see what it does for me.
Yeah, at the very least, it won't hurt. And I think about it kind of like growing new neurons is what TMS is very activating, very helpful. I know there's studies on it for PTSD and brain injury and depression, of course.
I saw they
So,
use it for autism and all
mhm.
sorts of things that are
Yep,
supposed to, yeah. So we'll see. And I
neurologic.
was able to work out a deal with them too. So
Cool.
which I'm very fortunate. That's another thing. There's all these like options out there, but they're all
hmm
extremely expensive. And
Yeah.
it's like if you don't have the funds or if you don't have the connections, it kind of sucks talking about them to people. If you know,
hmm
like even with you guys, I was able to luck out with partnering with you, so that was amazing, and I'm forever grateful for that. But
Well, of course, happy to help. Um, well, awesome. We're happy to help, and I think I'm talking to you next week or sometime soon. We'll
yeah, I
have you
got a
visit.
message saying that we have a chat soon, so can't
Yeah.
remember when it is exactly, but
Yeah, we'll send you a reminder if you need that. But good to see you, Tyler, and
yeah,
enjoy that sunshine and that new baby. It's
I will.
amazing.
Thank you so
So
much
cute.
for having me on this live. I appreciate it. It was fun.
Yeah, always good to talk to you.
Cool. I'll see you in a few days then.
All right, take
See
care.
ya.
Bye.